Welcome to Learn English by Stories. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more inspiring English stories. Fluency in English is something many people dream of, and it's no surprise. I remember when I was just a young student, much like you, trying to speak English well. I longed to be fluent, but I was shy and made many mistakes along the way. One day, my teacher told me, "You can be fluent if you practice every day." That one simple sentence changed my life forever. It made me realize that fluency doesn't happen in an instant. It's like planting a tree. You put the seed in the ground, water it, and give it sunshine every day. With consistent care, one day, that tree will grow tall and strong. And the same goes for fluency in English. It doesn't come overnight, but with consistent practice, you will see incredible progress. I'll never forget the day one of my students, Emily, came to me looking very sad. She said, "Teacher, I want to speak English, but I always forget the words." I smiled and reassured her, "Don't worry, Emily. Fluency isn't about remembering every single word. It's about practice." Her face lit up with hope, and she asked, "But how can I practice?" I told her, "Practice is everywhere. You can practice by talking to your friends, listening to stories, singing songs, or even practicing while you're walking to school. Every moment is an opportunity." I remembered when I was in school, I loved listening to stories. Every night, my teacher would read to us, and I would repeat the words. At first, I was slow, but with time, I became faster and learned new words. My confidence grew, and it felt amazing. One day, another student, Jake, asked me, "Teacher, is fluency just about speaking fast?" I told him, "No, Jake. Fluency is about speaking clearly. It's not about speaking fast, but about making sure others understand you. Speak with confidence. You don't have to rush." I remembered a student from my class, Max, who would speak so quickly that no one could understand him. I told him to slow down, speak clearly, and use simple words. Soon, everyone could understand him, and his confidence soared. Fluency is a journey you take step by step. You don't need to rush. Enjoy the process. One day, you'll look back and realize just how far you've come. I've seen so many students like Sarah who were afraid to speak at first, but with time and practice, they became fluent. There's one simple secret to becoming fluent. Listen. Listen to others who speak English. Listen to stories, listen to songs, listen to conversations. The more you listen, the more you learn. I remember a girl named Sophie who loved music. She would listen to English songs every day, and soon she was singing along. Her fluency improved simply because she was listening and repeating. Another important thing is not to be afraid of making mistakes. Mistakes are our best teachers. I remember a student named Lily who was so afraid of making mistakes that she wouldn't speak. I told her, "Don't worry, every mistake is a lesson. Embrace it." One day, Lily gathered the courage to speak in class. She made many mistakes, but she didn't stop. She kept going, and with time she became more fluent. She told me, "Teacher, I'm not afraid anymore," and that was the moment she truly began her journey to fluency. Fluency also comes from thinking in English. When you start thinking in English, speaking becomes more natural. I had a student, Tom, who always translated from his native language to English. It slowed him down and confused him. I suggested, "Tom, try to think in English, even when you're alone." He tried it, and slowly, he began to speak more fluently. Then there was another student, Noah, who loved to talk about anything and everything. But his problem was that he would start his sentences in English and then switch to his native language. I told him, "Try to stay in English, even if you don't know a word. Try to explain it in English." This really helped him focus, and soon he was speaking only in English. Reading is another fantastic way to build fluency. When you read, you see how sentences are formed, and you discover new words. I remember when I was learning English, I would read simple books. Every time I came across a new word, I would write it down and try to use it in a sentence. This practice helped me retain those words and use them in real conversations. One day, Sarah came to me holding a book. She said, "Teacher, I read this book, but I didn't understand everything." I told her, "That's okay. The more you read, the more you will understand." She kept reading every day, and after a while, she returned to me, saying, "Now I understand much more." Her fluency improved because she was reading and learning new things each day. Fluency also involves listening to yourself. Sometimes, recording yourself speaking, then listening to it can reveal areas for improvement. I had a student, Rebecca, who did this every day. She would record herself reading a story, listen to the recording, and find areas where she could improve. This daily practice made her more aware of her speech, and soon she became more fluent. Practicing with a friend is another fantastic way to become fluent. I had two students, John and Alex, who were best friends. They decided to speak only in English with each other every day. They had conversations, helping each other with words they didn't know. Over time, both became very fluent. They learned from each other and truly enjoyed the process. Fluency also grows when you use the language in real-life situations. I had a student named Oliver who worked at a local store. He decided to speak only in English with his customers. At first it was hard, but over time he grew more confident and fluent. Fluency comes from being curious too. When you hear a new word, don't just ignore it. Ask about it. Find out what it means and try to use it in your next conversation. I had a student, Emma, who was always curious. Every time she heard a new word, she would ask me what it meant, and then she would try to use it as much as she could. Her vocabulary grew, and so did her fluency. Having a goal is crucial too. Ask yourself, why do I want to be fluent in English? When you have a clear goal in mind, it keeps you motivated. I knew a student named David who wanted to travel to an English-speaking country. That was his goal. Every day, he practiced speaking English, preparing for his trip. His goal kept him motivated, and he became fluent before he even traveled. Remember to enjoy the process. Fluency doesn't come overnight. It takes time, but if you enjoy the journey, it becomes easier. I had a student named Lucas who loved watching English movies. At first, he used subtitles, but after some time, he started watching without them. He loved the movies, and at the same time, his fluency improved. Repetition is key. The more you repeat, the better you get. I had a student, Mark, who loved repeating sentences. He would hear something in class and then say it over and over again. This practice helped him remember sentences, and soon he was using them in everyday conversations. Speaking with different people also helps. Everyone speaks differently, and when you talk to different people, you learn new ways of expressing yourself. I had a shy student named Alex who only spoke to me. I encouraged him to speak with other students. At first, he was nervous, but soon he became comfortable, and his fluency improved. Talking about topics you enjoy can also help. When you talk about something you love, the words flow more easily. I had a student, Ben, who loved football. Every day, he would talk to me about his favorite teams and players. This helped him become more fluent because he was talking about something he was passionate about. Fluency is also about accepting that you won't always know every word. It's okay not to know a word sometimes. I had a student, Sophie, who always wanted to know the exact word for everything. If she didn't know the word, she would stop speaking. I told her, if you don't know the word, try to describe it in English. This advice helped her keep the conversation going, even when she didn't know the exact word. Fluency doesn't come with a specific timeline. A student once asked me, "Teacher, how long will it take to become fluent?" I told him, it depends on how much you practice. Some people become fluent in a few months, while others take longer. But the important thing is to never stop practicing. He practiced every day, and soon he saw incredible progress. Sometimes, practicing in front of a mirror can help. It makes you more aware of your expressions and gestures. I had a student named Lily who was shy about speaking in front of others. I told her to practice in front of a mirror. This helped her gain confidence, and soon, she was speaking fluently. If you forget a word while speaking, don't panic. Keep talking. Sometimes the word will come back to you later. If not, use a different word. I had a student, Luke, who once forgot a word in the middle of a sentence. Instead of stopping, he kept talking and his fluency continued to improve. Taking breaks is important too. Don't burn yourself out. I knew a student named Rachel who practiced constantly, but eventually she got tired and frustrated. I told her to take a break, relax, and come back with a fresh mind. After she did, her fluency improved dramatically. Fluency also comes from creativity. Write stories, sing songs, or even make videos. I had a student named Anna who loved writing. She wrote short stories every day in English. This practice helped her expand her vocabulary and use new words. Soon she started reading her stories aloud. and her fluency grew. Teaching others is another great way to improve. When you teach, you learn even more. I had a student, Ryan, who was already fluent, and he decided to help his friends practice. He taught them new words, and in turn, he became even more fluent. Setting a routine also helps. Make a habit of practicing every day. I had a student, Olivia, who practiced for 30 minutes every morning. She stuck to her routine, and over time, her fluency improved. Be patient with yourself. Fluency takes time. I had a student named James who wanted to be fluent right away. When he didn't see progress quickly, he became frustrated. I told him to be patient and keep going. Eventually, his persistence paid off. Fluency isn't just about speaking, it's also about listening. A good listener is a great communicator. I had a student, Mark, who always listened carefully before speaking. This made his responses clear and thoughtful. Stay positive. Even when learning feels difficult, a positive attitude will make the journey easier. I had a student, Grace, who smiled every time she made a mistake. Her positivity kept her motivated, and she became fluent in time. Fluency is a combination of many things: practice, patience, listening, speaking, and even making mistakes. It's like cooking a meal. You need different ingredients, and you need to mix them well to create something great. Every part of learning is important, and it's essential to celebrate small victories along the way. Each time you learn a new word or speak without hesitation, celebrate it. In the end, fluency is not just about speaking with ease, it's about connecting with others and sharing your unique voice. Every word you learn, every sentence you speak is a bridge to new understanding and new friendships. So keep going, keep practicing, and let your voice be heard. Now I want to hear from you. What inspires you to keep going on your journey to fluency? I would love to hear your thoughts.